I'm happy and grateful that you've come today to learn about the secrets that make a wonderful voice. I want you to have a great voice where the quality of your life will improve and you can move people, influence people, and communicate with your family, friends, and business associates. Welcome. I'm Jim Nissing. I'm a voice coach and an attorney, and I'm really glad you came today. And we're here today to talk about the secrets of having a great voice and how you can influence people with your voice. The oral communication system on the planet is flawed. It's been broken for thousands of years. And the reason is that oral communication is taught to be just about words. People talk, but they just talk words. Often their words have no impact on the listener. Words don't move people. Emotions move people. You can move people emotionally with the sound of your voice. People remember the sound of your voice and their emotional response more than your words. Words are overrated and sound is underrated. And there's no place that is more prevalent where communication is flawed than in the legal profession. It's all about words, facts, laws, and so many details. Words, words, and more words. Word communication is going on in trials in the legal profession. The lawyer is speaking up, trying to influence a judge, the jury. They're trying to influence even the client to say yes to hire them in the first place and to advertise to get clients. The way that lawyers and others use their voice and their oral communication is flawed because there's just no emotion in it. It's all word-based. But there's a new system called deep communication, which is emotional sound-based, and that's what we're teaching. You must move people emotionally. People don't just listen for logic and words, they listen for emotion, and that's also how the brain works. The amygdala in the brain is like a gatekeeper, and if the message isn't emotional, it's just not going to get through to the prefrontal cortex, and that's where you make decisions. The legal profession as a whole has fallen into this misconception that if I present the right words and if I said that these were the facts, that would move people emotionally to agree with me or my client, and the verdict would go in my favor and my client's favor. That just doesn't work. However, we're introducing a new system of oral communication that gives the lawyer and everyone else the skill set to move people emotionally, to communicate on an emotional level so that the jury, the clients, the spectators, and even the press are moved emotionally. The problem that's not being solved is that lawyers are communicating logically instead of emotionally, and thus they're not moving people emotionally. I can help lawyers create a balance of displaying all the facts, the law, and all the details, but housing it in an emotional presentation that makes the jurors like you, care about you, trust you, believe you, and listen to you. But it's not just about lawyers. It's any person in any field that just uses words. What about you? Are you happy about the influence that you have with other people? Do people listen to you? Can they understand you? Do you have a soft voice that no one can hear? Do you have a nasal voice? Do you end your sentences like this? Do you have a loud voice that people think you're angry all the time? Do you project your voice? Do you even like your voice? If you could, what would you like to change about your voice? We have to learn to move people emotionally with our communication. And I'm so grateful that I've learned the Roger Love method of emotional sound-based communication. I've studied with him, and I'm certified by him to teach the best vocal techniques in the world. His clients are Bradley Cooper, Tony Robbins, John Mayer, Selena Gomez, Gwen Stefani, Brendan Burchard, Jeff Bridges, Reese Witherspoon, Tyra Banks, and countless others, including myself. I have learned from the best, and I can share my knowledge with you. I can show you emotional sound-based communication and how it applies to your life. I can coach you to have a voice of emotion, and I can guarantee the quality of your life will improve when you can move people, influence people, and communicate with your family, friends, and business associates. You can use your voice to reach millions of people and make your audience trust you, believe you, like you, and connect with you. Based on what they hear, people decide whether they want to pay attention, hand you money, be moved by your message, or fall in love with you and what you have to offer. One of the secrets to having a great voice is to look at different voice types. You might think for yourself, do I have one of these types? Or do I have any of these characteristics? The first one is airy. And it's like, oh, I'm so happy to be here. And I just can't believe I'm so happy to be here. But we call it the Marilyn. Marilyn Monroe always sounded like, oh, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. The problem, there's just too much air coming out. And then there's Mr. and Mrs. Monotone. Monotone's a problem because it only uses one or two notes. And it's very boring because you know what's going to sound like next. I like ice cream. I don't like ice cream. You're okay. You're not okay. This deal sucks. This deal's great. It sounds like you don't have any real emotion in it. The worst thing about being monotone is that you're predictable. If you start hearing somebody that's monotone, you know what they're going to say next. You know it's going to be boring, more boring stuff, because it's always the same note. Your brain just tunes it out. To fix monotone, you put in some sliding scales. You want to go up the scale and then down the scale. You need to put in different notes in your sounds. The next voice type is squeaky hinge, and it's also known as vocal fry. This is where you end the sentence and you run out of air. There are famous people that have vocal fry. The Kardashians may have invented it. If not, they certainly popularized it. Every sentence at the end is like this, and I think this is great. And then, of course, it evolved to The Bachelor and The Bachelorette. And they're always so nice, and I love you, and you love me, and we can be so happy. It's terrible. I mean, I listen to that and it drives me nuts. At the end of the sentence, they run out of air. And that sound is not an endearing sound. The next type is the nasal professor.
Hello, I think this is really a good deal here. I know what I'm doing, and I've been teaching this for 50 years, and it's always the same. I've always talked the same way, and this is just how I talk.
This just really grates on your nerves. But, you know, there are people that talk like that. There are many fixes on these voice types. And as a coach, I do transformations. So how can I transform your voice? What I do is see and hear the future version of someone. I assess how they make me feel, and then I also assess how they make others feel, and then I explain how to improve their voice and to improve the impact that they have on other people. Then I help them get there. I've got the best techniques that can improve your voice and help you get wherever you want to go. How do you feel about your voice? If you have a voice that you like, that's great. But if your voice is one that you don't really like, it's time to work on it. Your voice doesn't have to stay the same the rest of your life. Are you getting the responses that you want from other people? Another secret to having a great voice is a vocal warm-up. You always see athletes warming up. They're always stretching out before their event and they're warming up. That's true with any sport: football, soccer, baseball, swimming, golf, surfing, skiing, any sport. It's also true with your voice. You want to warm up your voice so that you'll be able to have your voice for a long time and not lose it. I recommend vocal warm-ups to expand your range as well. We have the best vocal warm-ups that gradually open up your voice. There are some secrets that you don't want to do as well. Don't use fillers like like, so, and, on. Think of it like this. Is dumb. Fillers detract from what you're saying, and you don't look good. I use a solid airflow technique to get rid of fillers, and there are other techniques as well. The speaking voice and the singing voice have 5 building blocks, which are pitch, pace, tone, melody, and volume. Let's talk about some of the secrets to these building blocks, because they're really important. We all know about volume. You could be either really loud, or you can be really soft. Sometimes, when you're really soft, it might seem that you're kind of passive, or maybe you're just a little insecure. But when you're really loud, sometimes you may seem confident and enthusiastic, or sometimes you might seem to be angry. Angry has some other sound components as well. People that are angry are really loud, have a fast pace, and they're monotone. If your voice is angry, there are things to do so you don't sound angry. Maybe you won't be angry after you do these things. Put a little melody in your voice when you're angry and slow down the pace. The next building block is pace. It's how fast or slow you can talk. So if you're really slow, you seem to be kind of patient and thoughtful. But you don't want to be too slow, because if you're really slow, then people think that you're slow, and that's not a good thing. If you've got a faster pace, sometimes people think you are more intelligent. I know college professors that talk really fast, even in a social setting, because I guess they think they're smarter if they talk faster. You know, you can't overdo this. You don't have to talk that fast. But people that talk faster seem to be a little more energetic, and you know, that's a good thing. The next building block is melody. If you don't have any melody, basically it's monotone. Melody needs to go up and down the scales. When you have an ascending melody, you're going up the scale, you sound happy. And when you use a descending melody, you sound depressed or sad. The next building block is pitch. You're either high or low. If you're low, maybe you're going to be sounding trustworthy and people are going to think twice about what you said. But if you have a higher pitch, people might think you're kind of youthful and excited about something. If you go into a business meeting and you have a really high pitch, they might think you're a little too young for the deal. So you may want to adjust your pitch. The next building block is tone. You can be really airy. If you're really airy, so much of your air dissipates and there's no volume in it. The air just goes away and there's not enough volume to support any sound. The other side of area is edgy. You can be too edgy, which is kind of grating, but edge actually gets through all of the other sounds. If you're in a crowded room, be a little more edgy because your voice will penetrate the other sounds and get through to the other side. We show you how to put a little edge in your voice. If you're happy with what you sound like, that's great. But if not, just know that you can change your voice to whatever sound that you might want. And I know the best techniques to change your voice. My mission is to change the world by helping people communicate better. People just don't really communicate. We have to move people emotionally with our communication. and I can coach you on how to move people emotionally. And I can guarantee the quality of your life will improve. When you move people, influence people, and communicate with your family, friends, and business associates, there's a new voice in the world today, and it's you. You have a life story to tell. You have life lessons to teach. You have a message to share with the world. It's the speaker that wants to make a difference or change a life. It's the speaker that wants to share their voice with the world. It's the speaker that wants to stop being the best kept secret in their company. It's the speaker that says, I've got a real voice and message inside of me, and it's time to bring it to the world. You can continue to work with me by clicking below to schedule a free discovery call with me to talk about what you like and what you don't like about your voice and where you want to go with it. Remember, you can change your voice to whatever you want. Talk soon.